There we go. Good morning, good morning, good morning. What is up, folks? JT here with another Chart Talk Live brought to you by Xtrades. Hope everybody is doing well. A little coffee pause there. Let's get into the chats. What's up, Navy Plum? What's up, LB? Nickman, Leah, Eddie Mentium. Good to see you all here this morning. All right, screen sharing's going. Qubits and BBAI. Yeah, I think both of those are moving, aren't they? I don't need that or that. That's an old plan. Okay, sorry. Just wanted to get my tickers lined up for our trade plan recaps, and then we'll be ready to work on some new ticker requests this morning. Nickman already dropping some in the chat, as well as LB. All right, so let's dig in. Let's get to it. ES is pumping. We got our rate decision out of the way yesterday morning, or yesterday afternoon, sorry, with the Fed announcing that quarter point rate cut, expecting a few more before the end of the year. So we will be keeping an eye on that. But that uncertainty is out of the way. I don't know if anybody listened into the press conference with Jerome Powell. Certainly sounded a little bit pessimistic is probably the right word for it on the economy, but market is getting its rate cut, so it doesn't really care too much about that, it seems, and is continuing to push here pre-market. One thing I do want to do is get another set of fib extensions set up here on ES. It's very clearly been riding a pretty solid trend here. Let's see. I'm guessing it's probably, yeah, right off of that dip. And it's holding it so far. But this previous high is what gave us a back test off of it. So let's take a look at how that lines up real quick. Yeah, I like where that closed right there. That also gives us a fib that we're currently testing here pre-market. Showing current ES all-time highs there. So let's set our next targets on this. And I would certainly say overall for next leg up on the markets, if we do break out of this pre-market resistance here, I'd be looking at 67, 64, 25. A lot of times as we make our way through these trend-based fib extensions, we push up to that 0.618 before we back test the 0.5 in a more bullish move. So that would be my next target on a break of 67.20. For those that like to watch these levels as a means for determining if the markets are making more room to push further to the upside. So keep an eye on that, but overall things strongly bullish. Nice back test dip to prior resistance bounce and pushed us up to the current all-time highs that we are testing here pre-market. So ES overall looking very strong, very bullish. No surprises there. We've got some new levels now to keep on watch, so it's not just blind guesswork as we make our way up through some of these upside targets at 67, 64, 67, 95, and 68, 35 being the 100% from that prior all-time high that we're tracking. So ES is not not exactly, doesn't correlate exactly to SPX, but ultimately ES, SPX, and SPY are all the same ticker. If you think about it, at the end of the day, they're all going to move in lockstep with each other. It's just a matter of which one do you want to trade to profit from. So hopefully that answers your question there, LB. All right, let's get to some new, or get to some of these trade plan reviews. I'm sorry, nothing new about these. Apple, we did this plan on Tuesday's live stream within the first day of putting this one out, although it did happen a little bit too quick to really be actionable, in my opinion. We did get a breakout and test a PT1. We broke out and have been back testing and holding the call entry there as support. That continues to be the case here pre-market. So keep an eye on Apple if we continue to hold and get some nice tests of 238.62. I certainly would expect this one to bounce and continue to push higher through some of these price targets and follow the market to the upside. So keep an eye on Apple overall, looking quite bullish here this morning. Oracle, we also did a couple of days ago on Tuesday's live stream. This one's ultimately not giving us a break to either side of this trade plan, so this one's still on watch. Nothing looking super actionable right now. Nice bounce off the NTS key buy level there yesterday in the volatility of the FOMC rate decision. But ultimately that held and has pushed it up here to the put stop loss average down where it's finding some resistance. But overall, again, Oracle looking a bit choppy, but leaning, I would say, slightly bullish for the time being. Applied Digital, we also did this one on Tuesday's live stream. Looks to be finally giving us a break of the call entry here over 2002. So watch this one for potential back test of that 2002 for an entry and push up through some of our price targets, taking it to 2218 and higher from there. So APLD looking pretty solid here pre-market this morning. And then getting into some of last Thursday's live stream plans, we did UNH. Ultimately, PT1 for calls was all that UNH was able to get for us. From there, it ultimately has pulled back and is now back within our trading range. Has yet to give us a break to the downside for any kind of bearish play on it. And overall, like I said, moving sideways between the range now. So keep this on watch. Could certainly see this plan go back into effect going in either direction. So keep those levels on watch for UNH. But again, gave us the break, gave us PT1, and from there it's just been a pullback. Gave us a quick support test of the 333 SMA that held briefly, then it broke below, gave us a back test of the 333 SMA. Again, you all know this is one of my favorite moving averages, regardless of what time frame you have your chart set to. The 333 can spot a lot of interesting setups. So bounce, rejection, took it lower, and now it's kind of just middling around 200 crossing below the 333. That's a little bit of a bearish sign, but does have some bullish indicators on the chart as well. So certainly not overall bearish here on UNH, but I would say more mixed. And again, just keep the levels on watch. We'll see if and when one of those gives us a break and starts playing out in our favor. I don't know why I've got NVIDIA. AMD was our other ticker from last Thursday's live stream plan. Big pullback here this morning on AMD. The rumors are that it's related to potential issues with chip selling in China. It's kind of interesting because I believe that news is more related to NVIDIA, and that's why I was actually switching back and forth between these two. NVIDIA seems to be moving just fine, but that news, at least that's the only catalyst that I've seen this morning, or what, certainly some of these news sources are pointing to as far as why AMD is pulling back here this morning. I'm not sure if anybody has eyes on any other catalysts that have caused this major pullback in AMD here this morning, but certainly be curious to get anyone else's thoughts. I have not taken much time to look into it this morning, but overall our plan as prescribed did give us multiple tests of PT1 on that break of the call entry, so plenty of opportunities to exit, but this certainly an alarming pullback here on AMD here pre-market. Oh, I didn't know that NVIDIA invested in Intel. I must have missed that headline. So that could certainly have something to do with it. The U.S. government also, picking favorites, taking some what some might call a socialist ownership stake in Intel. So yeah, these things could certainly bode poorly or add up to be bad news for AMD. So that's good to know there, LB. Certainly could be part of the reasons that we're seeing it pull back here this morning. So this one's obviously shot down below the put entry and has already tested put PT1. I would say watch for a potential back test of the put entry here at 154.10. That might set up a rejection opportunity to play AMD to the downside. But be a bit careful. I'm not sure if some of these headlines are really overall catalysts that are going to um, upset the apple cart that is the business that AMD is doing. But obviously, market selling these rumors or selling, I guess, a little bit of the news as well. I don't think we do. Did we get to a third ticker on Lays? We did, but that was a couple of Thursdays ago. And this one has broken out again. Remember, we rode this one for, gosh, from what? I forget. It was something like 245 or somewhere around there, all the way up to that rejection there at 724. It's trying to break out again for what it's worth, and testing 349 here, up 25% pre-market. So Lays back on the move for what it's worth, even though this is an old trade plan. All right, so let's, in fact, I'll just use this. This isn't exactly a recap here. Let's get to some of these new ticker requests. So LB, do you want me to actually work on a plan for one of these two, or were you just mentioning that they're both running this morning? Okay, well, let's take a look at both and let's see which chart looks more interesting. BBAI's running, pushing through this earnings fair value gap, 625. Let's take a look at qubits as well. Let's go with whichever one looks a little bit more interesting. Qubits is looking a little bit more like a chase setup. So let's take a look at BBAI. It's certainly moving as well, but doesn't, well, it's a little bit of a chase setup as well, but it's running through some existing levels here versus kind of constantly running through all-time highs. So let's take a shot at BBAI. We'll use some of these established support and resistance levels, which I certainly do prefer over fibs, even though fibs can be useful. Excuse me, golly, I feel like I just went through puberty there. All right, so let's take a look at these levels. Have I charted this before? Yeah, I thought I had. Thought I should have some levels on this. Perfect. Let's get this up here. There we go. All right, let me zoom out on this real quick for a minute. Just turn off the indicators. I want to focus on price action alone for a minute. Don't need this old trend line. All right, BBAI. Yeah, there is something sitting right there. Looks like we could, Be testing some of these prior supports as resistance here pre-market. This fair value gap has room up to 677. Where I do want to take a look because we did have a few. Oh, we do have some older price data as well. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, there's something right there. Not totally convinced on that yet. That's a good level though. Hmm. Yeah, actually, I could see that. Sit right about here. Yep, like that level as well. Okay. Let's also clean this up real quick. All right. Mm, yeah, I think there is a level right here. Sorry, I was very indecisive about that one. I just wanted to read that price action for a sec. Okay, so let's start our plan now that we got some of those higher time frame levels on the chart. $6.28. All right, let's take a shot at this. Let's also hope this doesn't move too much more or maybe gives us a good back test opportunity because we are testing a potential breakout level here pre-market at 628, our pre-market resistance. If we can get through that, I think we'll close that fair value gap up to 677. I think that also gives us a good stop loss average down here at 598. For the upside trade plan, PT2 here at 722. Yeah, and then over 722, I'd be looking for 758. So that's the upside plan with targets set. Downside, yeah, definitely think it needs to get below 553 here. Could set a stop here at 589. first target down here at 506. I know this is going to be a tight PT1 and 2, but is what it is. 481 weekly support. Below that, let's see. Below that, there could be a bigger move to the downside, actually, and a fill of this fair value gap to an established level here at 430. All right, let's get these locked in. So we're looking for a break over that. Whoops, get a decimal in there. Put entry at 553, 506, 481, and 430. Stop loss at 589. All right, let's tighten this up some. Clean up this chart. Yeah, that's okay. All right, we've got our chart and plan locked in here. Let's share this in the chats. What's up, Chris? Good morning to you. Golly, I don't know what's going on with my voice this morning. I feel like I'm 13 again. All right, let's get this there, and in the elite chat, of course. Get out of here. Get this over here so we can set our message link. So we can lock in. Get that there. Lock in our template. Set our alerts. And we are good to go. Okay, so what are we looking for here on BBAI? We're looking for it to break over 628. We're testing that here pre-market, so keep a close eye on this one. Be careful about rushing in too early, preferably catch a break in a back test. That's not always the opportunities we see, but certainly the best kind of setups that I, at least for my personal trading style. So we're looking for that break over 628. That should bring us targets at 677, 722, and 758 with a stop loss average down at 598. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 553. That should bring downside targets at 506, 481, and then a close of that fair value gap to the downside, taking us to 430 with a stop loss average down at 589. Those are your BBAI trade plans. Let's go. All right, Nickman, Tesla, and QS. Nickman, do you have a preference between one or the other of those? If not, I am certainly happy to pick between the two. Tesla, he says. Okay, let's take a look at Tesla. All right, Tesla. What am I doing here? Well, we don't need this anymore. That's old news. New levels, we're over all those. So Tesla, getting ready to test all-time high ranges here. let's take a look. I'm going to have to add some levels. That's okay. So, with that in mind, let's focus on the price action only. What's up, baby Yoda? You just sliding in. I love it. All right, let's lock in this Tesla trade plan. What are we gonna do with you, Tesla? Where's the setup? Interesting level here. We are testing it pre-market. It's actually maybe just a little bit lower. Yeah, right about, let me change this so I can really dial it in. Sorry. Yeah, right about there. We're testing it pre-market here. Interesting rejection there. Not much more than just that rejection, though. Could be potential level here. We'll keep an eye on this one. I'm not convinced on it yet, but I might be convinced. Level of interest there. Should probably mark all-time highs. That would be good to know. 488.56. That is a good level there, though. I also like that one. All right, let's get to this hourly chart. So we've actually pushed a little higher and pulled back. That's interesting. Wonder if that pre-market high is at an established support and resistance level, or if that's just price action working its way through some levels here. Whoops. Let's go that way. Yeah, there does look like there is a level sitting right about here. All right, where does this really open up some upside room is the big question. Don't want to be too early. We want good confirmation. We don't want to totally miss the boat either. I'm okay with missing a part of the move to get some confirmation, but we don't want to get stuck in analysis paralysis either. Really would prefer to use that as the stop loss. Where are we at? Oh, sorry. To keep reminding myself of where that pre-market rejection was. So there is a window over 440, but it's a smaller window. The bigger move, I think, happens over 447. I just don't like this rejection right here for an earlier entry. All right. You know what? Let me throw these on here. Maybe there's a explanation, something that the price was hitting other than support and resistance. All right, gotta make a call at some point on this. All right, let's take a shot at this. I could be setting up a potential too aggressive entry on this, so I am calling myself out in advance. Keep that in mind. But Tesla has been moving very strongly. I think it really could take us as high as 470.18 if 440 breaks. And over 447 looks even better for that. So now I need to find, which I think we should have. Let's see how this stacks up. I want to check on the current price action here. Yeah, that actually looks good. All right. So, again, very aggressive upside plan entry here. So keep that in mind. Does have a small gap to fill to the downside there. Let's see if this 411.89 is overall a significant level. Looks pretty interesting based on this recent price action. Yeah, I think there's a key support there. Below which a downside move does open up. I think it's going to take us at least down. We did sweep just below this level. I think it's going to take us down to at least 398.70. There is a quick support that got put in. Maybe my level's a little bit off. Let's see. Yeah, I could make a case for this actually sitting right here. It does look a bit cleaner. I think, yep, that gives us that touch right there. Small adjustment on that level. Below that, well, my friends, we could drop pretty hard. Now, again, I am not saying I'm bearish on Tesla at all, but yeah, there's a potential big move down if that 389.48 breaks. So just keep this one on watch. We're gonna go for the gusto there on that PT3. All right, so let's get this locked in. Whoops, 29.90. Or come on, man, get those fingers working. Guess not. Golly, I keep missing that. There we go. For a second. And potential big move. Make sure you're chasing that move below PT2 with stops. Don't give back too much in the way of profits. This does have a shared stop loss there at 422.50. Let's give this offset some love here. A little bit more. A little bit more than that. Come on. Let's go with it even too. Yep, that'll work. Right. There we go. All right, let's get this chart set up for publication. Let's get over to this 1 hour. All right. So here comes your Tesla live stream plan. Let's go. Let's get this over in the elite chat. Oops, almost forgot about our YouTube friends. There you go, YouTube. Get this over in the elite chat. So we can grab our link. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but my dog that's sleeping over here beside me on his bed is having some kind of a dream. He is not happy about something. All right, what am I doing here? That all looks good. We got our link in there, right? That's the right, hang on, let me make sure that's the right link. All right, cool. Let's get our alerts set. Whoops, SPY plan hours. There we go. All right, so let's talk through this one more time. What are we looking for here on Tesla? We're looking for a break over 429.90. That should bring upside targets at 440, 447, and 459.68. Stop loss average down at 422.50. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 411.89. That should bring targets at 398.70. 389.48, and then a potential big move down to 367.65. Stop loss average down, shared with that upside trade plan there at 422.50. Those are your Tesla plans. Be ready to get after it and be very careful. Make sure we get some good confirmation of getting a break back above that 429.90. This PM rejection, PM high, gives me some concern, but overall the price action seems to be a lot more focused around that 429.90. So that is how I see it. All right, do we have one more ticker request from anybody else? I think I could squeeze one in the next 7 minutes, which leaves me just enough time to do a SPY plan. Eddie Mentium in here wants to take a look at Royal Caribbean. Let's go. Let's knock it out. All right, we don't need that. We did an RCL trade plan recently, I thought. Yep, I just have all the levels hidden right now. That's okay. Let's bring those back. Ooh, interesting. So Royal Caribbean, the last trade plan we did for it was for call entry off of 318.75, PT1 up there to 327.96. We have retraced and played back. That plan bounced off that 318.75 up to PT1 there at 327.96. Some of the work might be done for us here on this one. Let's see. I know this was fairly recent, but not super recent that we did this plan. There is an interesting, really interesting level right here, actually. And if we use that to our advantage, oh, change the text. I want to change the line color. Here's what I'm thinking. Well, that we could actually give that a little bit more room, I think. Let me hide this. I want to see where this price action's at. Yeah, I'm not going back that far. I think there's actually, just so we can give this plan some room to work. Yeah, there's a level right about here. Let's give it a little bit more room to make it happen. Do like PT1 and 2 where they're at though. Those are good. PT3 we had marked off. This is, yeah, that level is just a tiny bit lower. Looks much better right about there. Yeah, yep. All right, that's the upside plan. Downside, I think we could, though. Again, this level just a little bit lower, a little adjustment on this. Also need an adjustment there to give us a good first target. Second target, whoops. Actually want to go for this small gap fill. Or actually, the top of the gap looks like a better level. Take that back. Yep, let's go with that. Second price target. Third target down to 298.39. So a lot of these levels were just sitting here waiting for us from our last plan we did for Royal Caribbean. All right, that was a quick one. So let's get this locked in. Oh, shit. Did I remember to save my template? I know I was forgetting something on that. All right, I'll go fix that. That's a me problem. I can do that after the stream's over. Okay, cool. Let's get our trade plan pilot set up. All right, so we're looking for a break over 331.44 to take us up to 338.65, 346.57, and 355.36. Oops. Come on, bro. There you go. This offset's going to need to be a little bit higher too. All right, let's see how that looks. Good enough. All right, let's go. That's not what I wanted to do. All right, here comes your RCL live stream plan. Let's go. Come on. I feel like my V key is not. Might need some love or something. Live stream plan. Too much copying and pasting. All right, let's get this over in the elite chat real quick so I can grab the link. make sure I put that in there correctly. Okay. And so I don't forget this again. Yeah, I did forget to save that Tesla one, but I'll set that up. No big deal. Remember symbol, Thursday live stream plan 3. Cool, cool, cool. Get our alerts in. All right, so let's talk through this Royal Caribbean plan one last time before we wrap things up today. What are we looking for here on RCL? We're looking for a break over 331.44. That should bring us targets at 338.65, 346.57, and 355.36 with a stop loss average down at 324.60. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 318.07. That should bring targets at 309.13, 304.32, and 298.39 with a shared stop loss average down with this upside trade plan at 324.60. Those are your Royal Caribbean trade plans. Let's go. All right, folks, keep your heads on a swivel. We will certainly see how the market digests the FOMC and rate decision, or I should say the Jerome Powell press conference and the rate decision from FOMC yesterday as we make our way through the end of the week this week. So, like I said, be nimble, keep your heads on a swivel. I want to thank everybody for joining me this morning. I really do appreciate your time. We will be back Tuesday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with another Chart Talk Live session. So until then, as we always say here on Chart Talk Live, plan your trades, trade your plans. Remember, we're looking for profits, not perfection. So keep those wins big, keep those losses small. Go out there and get some green. I will see you all in the chats, and I will see you back here Tuesday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the dot. Until then, take care. Have a great day, folks.